in a game like this, you guys could have just made Cactus, and that could have been the end of it, and just drop players in and say go at it. I as a player, let alone a game reviewer and writer, but as a player, I think I speak for everybody when I say that it's very appreciative.
Yeah, well, thank you. That was kind of our goal, was to create the different play styles, and especially with the first 4, they're all quite accessible and standard styles of play that the people come to expect. And then the plan is for the 4 that come after that, the ones that you unlock throughout the game, because they're not available immediately, they don't have to be quite as accessible. So Starch is still kind of easy for people to pick up, but the 3 that are coming after Starch, I think they're going to be love-hate relationships for people. They're going to have just crazy weapons that you go, oh my god, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But someone else will go, this is the coolest weapon ever. So that's the hope anyway.
And you guys did make a lot of different maps. One of the things I really enjoyed on my original playthrough was the fact that the maps change. Like the layout's different. As in the first level that we did, you eventually fall, and now here we are in the dark. This is it's one of my favorite things when I was playing, is the environment.
Awesome. That's exactly what we were kind of hoping. It's almost the one big, I guess, gimmick of the game. And I hate to use that word because it implies that it's cheap, but it really is something we hang a lot of the gameplay off of, where you never know what's going to happen in the next level. This level is the first level that uses the lights, and you might not ever see that in the game, or you might. It's like not for you to know. And we tried to create very distinct gameplay themes with the changes. So they're not just changes for change's sake. In this level, we're using the lights, turning it off, and then flooding with enemies that crawl up over the sides, which surround you from every angle. So the traditional enemies, when the lights are on, are all flying enemies, or the guys who are falling in, and they're not particularly swarming or encompassing. And then the lights go off, and it's like you're surrounded on every side, and you can't quite see every side. And it kind of gives it a definitely distinct gameplay flavor. But yeah, a lot of other levels, that every level is meant to have its own theme. Even the static levels are designed to have a very distinct theme, where maybe they're all about introducing a new enemy type, and so we don't want to complicate the level layout that you're having to deal with while you learn how to deal with a new really complicated enemy. So it's quite, a big focus of our design.
Yeah, and as you can,
it's hard to talk and play simultaneously.
And as you guys can see, there it was. Like, I almost just died as a result of having to focus and get those batteries. That becomes such a crucial part of this game as you play through it, and the levels get harder. I know I'd be lying if I said I wasn't cursing on the 2 boss battles that are currently available. Trying to get those done and stay alive, and I thought the whole introduction of a battery life bar it's very clever.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that you're able to kind of pick it up and not just rage out at it. It does definitely force you to really think about how you're playing and try and improve. It's also a soft failure in a lot of ways. We found a lot of people can get into Cactus who don't necessarily enjoy other shoot 'em ups or twin stick shooters because they feel like the barrier of entry is too high. And the battery lets us scale up the difficulty when we want to, as the levels progress and you get further in the game, or when you're fighting a boss, which can be particularly difficult. But it also lets us keep the barrier of entry really low, so when you first pick up the game, you can just die a lot and still learn how to play.
Yeah, and it seems like most of the people who are watching right now have played this game. That must be exciting for you to kind of see your fans come out and watch us do this.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I like that there's a lot of people in here who seem to know quite a bit about the game already. For those of you who haven't played it, there is a free demo on Steam, so download it, check it out.
Somebody said Yeah, it is your favorite robot android of all time. I mean, like anything. It doesn't have to be in a game. It can be in a movie, a television show. But you just have to tell us why they're the best. So there you go.
Shouldn't be too hard. There's tons of awesome robots and androids, so
It's true. It's true. So do you have, I mean, on this, in the game, is there a favorite level of yours? I mean, that's currently available?
My favorite level, it's a weird one, but I really I like convection, probably because I spent a long time working on it and it's incredibly difficult. So
yeah, as you can
convection,
see, it's the only one on the list I don't have a score for.
it's the third last level in the game, so it has to be incredibly hard. But if we're looking at levels not just on terms of the challenge, because I'm always going to enjoy the more challenging ones after working on the game so much. If we're not counting that, levels like Influx, I'm really proud of what we did there. That was one of the early levels that we focused on, and I think there's a lot of cool stuff in there. So yeah, check it out.
Somebody asked, not AI. I did think about that when I was coming up with the idea for the contest. Because my immediate thought was robot. I thought of HAL from A Space Odyssey, but that's an AI, not a robot. AI. So no AIs. Has to be a robot. So here we are playing as Coral. Shotgun, right? That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, so she's got the shotgun and the plasma field, trying to really use that close range, dealing maximum amount of damage when you're in the face of death gameplay.
Yeah, I never excelled at Coral, though I did see the use of the plasma shield, especially when you get with the bigger enemies, the tankier enemies.
Yeah.
So I mean,
my internet is freaking out.
Oh. As you guys can see, I'm already
struggling,
having to contend with this shotgun. I guess when you make a game like
actually,
this,
it's our hardest.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can tell. I'm sure there are people out there who do appreciate it. Nothing wrong with the challenge.
There are. She's got a high barrier to entry, I guess, but when people get good with her, she's dominating a lot of the scoreboards, so it's all about risk and reward, right?
Well, yeah, and it is true. I mean, her damage output is, pretty high. So when you make a game like this,
it's nuts when you get the...
Do you guys, is there a game that you kind of turn to for inspiration to make this?
Oh, so many games. so many games. And also so many games that we turn to as, oh my god, nothing like that. What we did was, thinking about the concept early on, Tim came up with a lot of the early concepts, and I guess the high concept as well. It's all pulled from Tim, since he designed the characters and the early prototypes. But after we really started focusing on it and going, alright, we're going to make this game, we're going to spend a year making this game, let's try and decide exactly what we want out of it. We went through and we played just about every twin-stick shooter you could imagine.
Oh, really?
I spent nights after night playing through everything we could find on Steam, Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation Network, looking at old emulated games, just trying to understand what makes one good and what makes one bad, and why. Because some of them just feel good, and that's okay. I think Cactus feels good, and a big part of that is because we went through and we tried to identify why do some just feel right and some do not. So biggest influences would have to be obviously the classics like Robotron 2084 and Smash TV, which we originally thought we were making a Smash TV style game, and then at some point realized that no, it's not actually like Smash TV. And then more modern games like Geometry Wars and Super Stardust, where the controls are just perfect. Those
Yeah,
are huge influences.
yeah, I mean, there is almost kind of a Geometry Wars feel to it, with the being able to with the rotations of the dual stick, and that's I mean, it's a great game to begin with.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And even in the non-twin stick space, there's games like Radiant Silvergun and Ikaruga that just offer so much interesting choice of mechanics and patterns and things. It's really great. The way that you use different weapons in Radiant Silvergun is really cool. And the aesthetic of all the late 90s, early 00s Sega arcade games, right? Like Dreamcast games and arcade games. Blue skies, bright colors, inviting aesthetics, fast-paced gameplay, twitchiness, 60 frames a second. All these things kind of